Right now at noon, the Missouri Secretary of State breaks down the process for choosing a president.
And it's still hot and sunny out there, and it will remain that way heading into Saturday. We'll have a look at your forecast coming up.
Plus, a project aimed at making some of the sidewalks safer and more accessible.
The most watched news starts now.
Well, Joplin police released new information on a crash stemming from a traffic stop Wednesday, including fresh charges. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Elise Snowy. Officers tried to stop the vehicle when they suspected the driver was intoxicated. The police pursued the vehicle, but the chase ended when the vehicle crashed into another one at the intersection of 20th and Connecticut. Now, the driver of the other vehicle suffered minor injuries. Police arrested both the driver and the passenger in the fleeing vehicle. Authorities say the driver, Dakota Bell of Alba, Missouri, is formally charged with Valentine's Law, which is aggravated fleeing a stop, in addition to felony DWI and persistent in felony possession of drug paraphernalia. The passenger, Jessica Van Kirk of Webb City, was arrested on active felony probation violation warrants for drug-related charges. Authorities have arrested a Galena man after responding to a domestic disturbance near Baxter Springs. According to the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office, deputies learned the incident began as a verbal argument between the suspect and his girlfriend while driving. The suspect allegedly chased her down, nearly hit her with his vehicle, and then engaged in a physical altercation. He was arrested and booked into the Cherokee County Jail on allegations including aggravated kidnapping, aggravated assault, domestic battery, and disorderly conduct. Formal charges are pending. Now let's check in with Chris Warner for a look at the forecast.
Yeah, we've got another sunny and hot day across the area. Taking a look from MoDOT camera 20th and range line. Clear skies out there this afternoon. Same from our camera downtown Pittsburgh. We got ample sunshine across the region and, of course, some ample heat to go along with it. Yesterday, all right, this was filled in a minute ago. Well, it was 63 is where we started the day, and we tied a record set back in 2006 of 92 for our high. All right. Taking a look outside, we're on our way to those same levels. 85 in Joplin, 84 in Pittsburgh. So we got a little cooler up north. Yates Center, Iola into the upper 70s. Everybody else, though, low, mid, and even down south, some getting into the upper 80s out there. As we head through the rest of the evening, we've got Friday night football. It's going to be a bit warm out there for October. It's not going to feel like Friday night football, but it's not going to be freezing either, which I suppose that's a good thing. Clear skies all the way through the evening, and we'll be back down to the low 70s by about 11 o'clock tonight. The heat will remain as we head into Saturday, but the winds pick up, and we have a cold front on Sunday. We'll go over all those details with you here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, voters head to the polls on November 5th to decide the next president. But on Election Day, are you really voting for a candidate or are you voting for a party? KOAM Samantha Walker talked with the Missouri Secretary of State to learn more about how the process of electing a president works.
When we vote in November, we will be voting to decide which party gets to choose our president. Is really what happens.
As voters head to the polls this November, their votes will help decide the next president of the United States. Some states, such as Missouri and Kansas, list only the presidential candidates on their ballots. Others, like Oklahoma, make it clear that voters are technically selecting the electors who participate in the Electoral College. Voters are not truly voting for the next commander-in-chief. Those electors were selected by their political party in each state, whether it be Democrat, Republican, or Independent.
If you vote for Kamala Harris, then what you're really doing is you're voting to allow the Democrat presidential electors for Missouri to vote. If you vote for Donald Trump, then you're really voting to allow the Republican presidential electors to vote.
To win, a presidential ticket must receive 270 votes from the electors. Arkansas and Kansas both have 6. Oklahoma has 7, and Missouri gets 10 electoral votes. All 4 are winner-take-all states. This means all their Electoral College votes will go to the candidate who wins the popular vote in that state. The Electoral College will meet December 17th to select the next president and vice president of the United States of America. Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
Next week, we'll continue our conversation with Secretary Ashcroft, learning more about how election results are certified. The city of Girard is working on a project to create safer and more walkable sidewalks. They plan to repair sidewalks, build new ones, and create ramps. They want to make the sidewalks ADA compliant and safe for all residents, including people who use wheelchairs or have other disabilities.
Kids particularly walking from school to wherever they need to go, the library after school or just even home. And people in wheelchairs especially, the ramps will be there and the sidewalks will be wider to accommodate them.
Now, the locations they plan to work on include West St. John Street and West Prairie Street. Well, the 41st annual Grand Lake Pelican Festival takes flight in Grove, Oklahoma this week. The event celebrates the annual fall migration of the American white pelicans' return to Grand Lake the Cherokees. The 3-day event kicked off last night with a carnival.
Came to ride the roundup, and I wanted to get some funnel cakes and bring my son down here to ride some rides.
The event will also include a Miss Pelican Festival pageant, a parade, a car show, and arts and crafts, food vendors, and more fun for the whole family. The Gordon Park celebration is underway at Fort Scott Community College. Parks grew up in Fort Scott and is remembered as one of the first African Americans to work for Life in Vogue magazines. KOAM's Lonnie Walton catches up with Parks' family and friends to see why his legacy means so much to the community.
The thing about exposure for young people is them seeing someone do something who looks like them. And I was able to see him be a director and be in the film business.
Kakai Ampa is friends with Gordon Parks. He says Parks' story is essential to the community and the country because prejudice is everywhere.
When our history is being taken out of schools, our history is being threatened to be told in a way other people really want it to be told. So we need to know about not just him, but the stories he covered.
David Parks is Gordon Parks' son. He says he has a strong connection with Fort Scott, but not just because his dad was born here.
I helped form the museum 20 years ago, so helped raise the money, get it organized.
Although Parks never received a degree, he was recognized for his work.
Gordon Parks didn't graduate from high school. Gordon Parks wound up with over 50 honorary doctorate degrees and never graduated from high school. But that was a different time.
Parks hopes his father's life touches all those who come across his story.
Well, he has a hell of a legacy.
Reporting in Fort Scott, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Events are scheduled through the weekend with the celebration ending on Sunday with a breakfast. Well, coming up, dock workers are back on the job this morning after a massive strike is put on hold. We'll have the details on how the two sides came to an agreement and why the deal is only temporary. And later, we're making a bee sting cake in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Well, ports opened back up this morning after the dock workers' strike threatening the nation's supply chain has been averted, at least for now. Naomi Rickham breaks down the details of the new deal.
Celebrations broke out in Brooklyn Thursday as dock workers learned they are back on the job. The new deal between the union and port operators suspends a 3-day strike that shut down shipping on the East and Gulf coasts.
We believe in everybody, all the foremen, all the big bosses. We never lost faith. We love each and every one of them because they never stopped fighting for us. And we'll never stop fighting for them.
The deal came after the ports sweetened their side of the bargain, raising their offer from a 50% raise to 62% over 6 years. But the deal does not resolve disagreements over the use of automated machinery, which has been a sticking point for port workers.
Robots don't pay taxes and they don't put food on your table, so it's very important to protect these jobs.
The agreement ends the biggest disruption of its kind in nearly half a century, threatening shortages of everything from food like bananas to car parts, home appliances, and even furniture. Some Americans even resorted to panic buying, reminiscent of the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic, stocking up on toilet paper and paper towels. President Biden applauded both sides for coming to the table.
We've been working hard on it, and we just
the grace of God, the good little neighbor is going to hold.
Now the parties have until January 15th of next year to negotiate a new contract. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
Analysis predicted the strike would cost the U.S. economy about $5 billion per day. 36 ports were impacted, including in New York, Baltimore, and Houston. Well, still to come on KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
If you're looking for a buzzworthy dessert, then you won't want to miss out on a German bee sting cake. You won't.
And it is going to be hot heading into the weekend. The temperatures remaining above normal and maybe some slight rain chances. We'll look at that forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM News at noon. So it is already heating up out there for many of us. We had a little cold front pass through, and it's really not going to be noticeable today. But then there's another one Sunday that you might notice a little bit at least, which is better than no bit. Let's start though with a live look from our camera in downtown Pittsburgh. Sunny skies out there. They are clear. The road's looking good. And otherwise, I mean, it's not a bad day if this was September, late August maybe, but it's not. It's October, and it shouldn't be this way. As we go into the rest of the afternoon, we are going to continue to see those temperatures stay up there. We're going to be 10-15 degrees above normal for our Friday. And as we head into Saturday, it's going to be the same situation. The only difference is the gusty winds return out of the south, gusting upwards of about 20 miles an hour out there, but still 10 to 15 degrees above normal. And as we head into our Sunday, and this isn't stopping because it doesn't like me. Well, either way, as we head into our Sunday, it will still be warm, but Sunday morning, which we got to miss, there's a cold front that's going to pass through. Winds will shift out of the north, and what will ultimately happen for our Sunday is the far northern communities, really along the 54 corridor, you're going to be a little cooler than your neighbors to the south. The thing is, though, is even up here, you're still going to be 5-6 degrees above normal Sunday afternoon. The further south you go, the warmer it'll be, so it'll still be cooler than today and tomorrow on Sunday, but not significantly so. So again, the biggest difference you're going to notice is the fact that the wind is blowing out of the north instead of out of the south, and that's going to be about it. As we talked about, if you were with us during the morning show, I've seen air quality alerts around major metropolitan areas over the last several years. I've seen them as close as Tulsa, but I've never seen them actually get into counties within our coverage area. But we do have them in Washington, Newada, and Craig counties through today, and that is for ozone that's actually developing at the surface level, which can lead to some serious problems for those with respiratory illnesses, and it can also damage vegetation. So there's some tips online on things you can do to help reduce that buildup at the surface, but also take a look at some of these monitoring stations outside of that zone. They're at yellow, which is moderate. It's the next step up, but air quality is a bit reduced across the area. So that's something to keep in mind if you're a little more sensitive, that the air quality is not necessarily as good, even though it looks nice out there. And you can see blue skies, 85 in Joplin, southwest breeze at about 8 miles an hour. Humidity's dropped back off, so the air drying back out across the region. We got 84 in Pittsburgh with a southwest wind at 11. And as we look at temperatures around the region, again, you can see it's a little cooler. Here's that boundary that's going to push through where the wind arrow shift is. So only a little cooler. We're talking upper 70s, Yates Center, Iola. Everyone else into the 80s, and of course further south a little warmer. So highs today again, upper 80s, low 90s out there. The sunny skies. As we head into the evening, we got Friday night football. It's not going to feel like Friday night football weather, but eventually we'll drop back into the low 60s tonight. That's still about 10 degrees above normal. Same situation tomorrow. Upper 80s, low 90s, south winds gusting upwards of 20. Now, as we head into the second half of the weekend, again, mid-80s for most of us Sunday, low 80s on Monday and Tuesday, still above normal, but a little bit better. And then we heat back up next week. But as we heat back up, we're looking at some data that says might get a little more moisture in here that could set off a few of those isolated showers and storms. So we're not talking significant rainfall, but we're at least talking some kind of precipitation, which is better than no precipitation at this point.
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, stick around. We're making bee sting cake in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. We'll be right back. Well, Howard is making bee sting cake in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
As our salute to Oktoberfest wraps up, today we've got a traditional German dessert that is known as Bienenstich, which in English translates to bee sting. Legend has it that it got its name when the baker who created this honey glazed cake was stung by a bee that was attracted to its sweetness. And once you try it, you'll realize that bees aren't the only ones that are attracted to it. We start off by beating together some butter and sugar. Once it's creamy, we add in some honey, a couple of eggs, and a bit of vanilla. Now we gradually add in our dry ingredients and some milk until the batter is nice and smooth. This goes into a springform pan that we coated with cooking spray and lined with wax paper. We sprinkle it with a little flour and pour on a glaze that we made by simmering some butter, honey, vanilla, and almonds. After it bakes and cools, we'll cut it in half and fill it with a creamy custard that brings this all together. Just one whiff and there's no wonder that it attracts bees, as well as anyone else who gets a peek at it. And talk about deliciously different. To get the easy step-by-step recipe, all you have to do is go to our website and look for bee sting cake, and you'll see what all the buzz is about. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a buzzworthy way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website, that's KOAMnewsnow.com. Now, here's a look at the 4-state market prices.
All right, so hot today, hot and breezy tomorrow. Not as hot Sunday, not nearly as hot Monday and Tuesday, and then it goes back to being hot again next week. But we also have that returning moisture that might bring us at least a few isolated shower and thunderstorm chances.
All righty. Well, coming up tonight at 5, newborn babies are tested for dozens of genetic disorders, but researchers are expanding screening to look for more than 200 rare conditions. They're hoping to speed up a diagnosis and treatment. Plus, Missouri Lieutenant Governor and a candidate for Governor Mike Kehoe hosts a meet and greet event with supporters in Joplin at the Jasper County Republican headquarters. And Carthage Middle School students get to cast their vote for which one of their teachers gets to kiss a goat. You can join us for those stories and more on KOAM News at 5. And that's the news for now.
Seems like a good time.
I know. We'll have to see. You'll have to tune in at 5 to see which one of their teachers gets to do that. Well, that's it for us. Have a great rest of your day.